Hi everyone, I'm Alba and I've based my extended essay on English literature of the 19th and 21st century. It is a comparative study between the well-known second book of the Harry Potter series, The Chamber of Secrets, and a Gothic novel by Margaret Oliphant, The Secret Chamber. I've chosen this topic because the title coincidence made me wonder if J.K. Rowling had really gotten as famous as she is by borrowing someone else's original ideas. So I decided to investigate if this was really true or not. After some research and information rearrangement, I came to draw a more specific question that says, to what extent is J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter saga influenced by Margaret Oliphant's Victorian literature? My methodology is focused around this concept of idea, the basics of a storyline that define the characteristics of every other literary element, that comes to the author and is based on their experiences and previous readings. I hypothesized that J.K. Rowling had used Oliphant's basic plot, at least to some extent, given the clear similarities in the titles. To apply a comparison methodology, I selected three elements that I considered most relevant for my investigation. These are the narrator, the setting, temporal and spatial, and the fantastic elements that appeared in each novel, so basically the magic aspects of the story. For each one of these elements, I've taken into account content, theme, formal structure, literary and historic context. First of all, we need to take into account the two literary and historic contexts of the stories. The Secret Chamber by Oliphant was published in 1876, halfway in the Romantic era, when liberal ideas had started to spread out, outweighing logic and religion-based politics. Passion and natural impulses were the main topics the writers looked for inspiration in. These are called Gothic novels now. Whereas Rowling's book was published in 1998, so we don't really have a good enough perspective to classify it under any literary movement. It's too close to our actual years. I can predict, though, that it is an evolution of Gothic terror stories that uses characteristics of other genres to innovate this novel. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets has an external third-person narrator that has its omniscience limited to what Harry is seeing or hearing. As Nathan Bashford says, if Harry doesn't see it, it doesn't happen for the reader. This increases the reader-character connection because they know exactly the same things, but puts Rowling into a situation where she needs to use some tools to let the reader and Harry know stuff that they haven't witnessed. The main one is dialogue, when they ask someone to give them information. The library is pretty useful too because it contains private information as well. And then there's some magical tools like the Pensieve, in which they can see someone else's thoughts, and the invisibility clothes that allows Harry to be present in events he shouldn't be present to. For this reason, I've considered this narrator a camera narrator. But is it fully a camera narrator? We can see some examples when the narrator takes an overview of everything that's going on. For example, in a Quidditch game, we know what's happening at the teacher stands, the commentary stands, students, and of course the game itself. So in this case, it isn't a camera narrator, but a fully omniscient narrator. So it is mostly a camera narrator, but sometimes Rowling feels the need to make it fully omniscient. Oliphant's novel also uses a third-person external narrator, but it starts off with a fully omniscient one that puts the reader into situation and gives the story credibility and legend-like feeling. It decreases the reader-character connection, though. After that, in the climax and the resolution, it adopts the camera narrator kind that Rowling uses, focuses on the main character. So in the introduction, it would look like Castlegar is one of the most famous and interesting in Scotland. It sounds far away from the protagonist. And then it goes to, it seemed to Londres that he had seen neither the chair nor the man when he came in. So it's focusing only on the character. I can conclude that there are two clear similarities between the two narrators. The first one is its omniscience, either total or limited, because it is always external to the story and it's narrating from the past at all times in both novels. The second one is that it's linked to other elements, so the writers modify it intentionally to suit their plot and their special characters. Even though it is an essential tool, since it tells the story and what happens to the characters and the setting and everything, it isn't a key element that concerns us, that concerns our research questions, because it is similar in general terms, but because of this modification the writers do to suit their plot, it's different. So Rowling hasn't taken Oliphant's reference because she has adjusted the narrator to her plot. In both stories, the place where the action takes place can fit perfectly Robert Harris's description of what a Gothic novel setting is like. He says, an old castle, abandoned, occupied, or unclear whether there are not occupants, human or otherwise, contains secret passages, trapdoors, secret rooms, trick panels with hidden levers, dark or hidden staircases, ruined sections. So now we can see that Hogwarts, which is the castle where Harry's story takes place, is basically an old castle with trap levels, stairs that move place, so there's enchanted doors, etc. It has ghosts, and this is Castle Gary, which is where Lindora's adventure takes place. They're pretty similar. And this is the Chamber of Secret, the one where Harry has to fight the monster, which is not as similar to Lindora's chamber, since one is almost empty of everything, and the other is full of different objects that decorate the room. So, since there are clear similarities between the location settings of both stories, they're both based in the Romanticism and Gothic novel, as we said, the description of the old castle that's used in Gothic novels in the 19th century. I can conclude that probably Oliphant's story and description of the setting has influenced J.K. Rowling when writing Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Regarding fantastic elements, I can say that everything that's magic comes from the Chamber of Secrets, so it is strictly linked to the location setting. In both stories, it's about an ancient mystery that's inherited from generation to generation. In Harry's case, this Chamber of Secret was created by one of the founders of Hogwarts, and it contains a dark mystery. And in Lindora's story, it's a secret that goes from father to son all the way to himself. So basically, it is the same plot structure in both novels, and they're created out of fantastic elements. So again, it's related to the chamber and the magic that it contains. But it's introduced differently due to the different novel formats and the two characters. So why do the fantastic elements appear different in each story? Firstly, because of the need to adapt to format, one of the novels is way longer than the other one, the characters, plot, and the setting. Because even though they're pretty similar, they're not exactly the same. And the second one is because the intention differs. Rowling pretends to entertain kids and adults with a different kind of magic story. That's probably the first one in the 21st century, even though she takes references from the 19th century Gothic novel. It is the first one of its kind in these days. But Oliphant only intends to create a mystery novel parting from realistic historic elements. So, for example, the castle in which the story takes place is an actual castle. She wants to give it a legend-like feeling. As a lateral result of this study, I have observed that Rowling's success isn't due to her plot. It is due to the way she introduces magic as something quotidian and part of the day-to-day life of the characters. This way, she approaches really young readers and 21st century adults. Whereas, Oliphant introduces magic as something that's not part of the day-to-day life. Only as uncertainty about it is. So it's mystery what's daily in their story. That's why I consider that Rowling doesn't owe her success to Oliphant. So my conclusions are that Harry Potter is rooted on the Gothic novel because of the settings and the plot, and more specifically on the short novel by Oliphant because the Chamber of Secret is really similar and also the basic plot, even though the characters are different. It consolidates a genre by innovating, so what I mean is that it takes some characteristics from the 19th century and it adapts them to characters that are based on 21st century people. Um, so, Rowling thus used Oliphant's reference to contextualize already shaped characters. So, the characters, which are the cause of her success, are her idea, but this specific novel plot is being influenced by Oliphant. She kind of admitted this at an interview. She said 99% of the magic in the books is entirely invented by me, but I've taken liberties with folklore to suit my plot. So by folklore she probably means Gothic novels. Future research on this matter would be to see if Oliphant's novels have influenced anyone else, or if any of the other Harry Potter saga books have been actually influenced um, from any other author.